you imagine? Against the system, not you can't fight City Hall, which generally you can't. You can't even fight a company. If you work for a company and you blow the whistle on them, they'll run you crazy. They'll have everybody. I mean, just a company, just your neighborhood company, or a city agency try to cause you a regular city agency. But here we're challenging, in each area, we're challenging the Muslim establishment. If we will agree that this whole Muslim establishment in this region is against our program. But they know who we are, 100%. They know what we stand for. So, now, they advise the other system that actually know us better than them because they've known us longer. Yet you can push the heat up just a little bit. So, look. So we agree here that we're fighting City Hall, we're fighting Government Hall, we're fighting the Army, Navy, Marine, we're fighting all of them. That is just a reality. And we're winning. But we're beating them so bad that it's embarrassing. When we say discombobulated, they are discombobulated. They can't thread a needle, they can't do nothing that takes any dexterity, they can't do nothing. And that's because of us. We're doing that. We're consciously doing that. And they're consciously responding. And we're working on our timetable. And they haven't made use of nothing. They can't blame anybody for nothing. They had the Berlin Wall fell, right? In the 90s, they had peace dividend, remember that? Unipolar, nobody to challenge them, they blew it. They went right over the war and killed everybody in Iraq. Of course, they done away with Saddam's power and everything, and placed Iran in the driver's seat, and they keep right on driving. A few years later, they get rid of the then Taliban in Afghanistan for Iran. Wonderful. I was watching Zarif. He was given the exact same rendition today. A few years ago, I was watching it on the TV. He gives the exact same coverage that we give, exactly, word for word. And I've watched at least 8 or 10 of his lectures in the last couple of days. They're exactly, word for word, what we say. And he's the foreign minister, but he's doing a good job. Okay. Boss man, blunder after blunder, no peace dividend. 9/11, the whole world was on their side. Iran was holding candles for poor Americans. They did that, right? Iran tried to help them. Iran did help them with the Taliban and all that. They helped them with where they ought to hit. They helped them with literally everything. You know what I mean? That's why they did away with the Americans went over to Afghanistan and they was messing up bad. So Iran gave them a map. They said, here's where you go, boss man. You got it. And that's when you could see on TV, Taliban is almost finished in Afghanistan. Why? Because the Taliban was anti-Shia, so the Shias was the ones. The Northern Alliance, Shah Ahmed Massoud, I think, he was the one always, they killed him, of course, The Taliban blew him up. Then, you know, when I was in Iran, September 18th, 7, 8, 9 years ago, Rabbani was there, the past president. I mean, I got pictures all over, we was all just hanging out. And he got a call to go back to Iran. A little peace talk, he went back to the bums. And one of them, let's call him terrorists, had a bomb in his turban and blew up the poor man. Because he was in Iran, and Iran was up working out, you know what I mean, all the little stuff like that. Anyway, the Afghan War, 2001, then the Iraq War, 2003, they blew that. Then Libya, they destroyed Libya. And look what they have now. And you see on TV what Syria looks like. It's unbelievable. Obama, we always say they could have sold ice cream to Eskimos or ice to Eskimos when they voted in Obama. Boy, that was big. I was watching the Germans, all the white folks. Yeah, Obama, 235,000 people. This is when they had made the announcement he was going to be the chosen one. And them white folks. So it was a worldwide phenomenon. America, they called it post-racist society. They could have took advantage of that. Man, they could have did anything with that. Did they make any? They didn't do nothing. The people is dumb. All that stuff handed to them. And they blew every one of them. They blew literally everything handed to them. That's why we say that we're stretching the hand of kindness out over literally everybody. You can tell by the way we talk, we always not going and coming, we're going straight ahead. But there's periods of time when we almost feel sorry for the Negroes, and we don't even want to tell everybody how stupid they was. But that's our doggone mission. That's what we did everything for. But we're constantly trying to find a way not to move around that, but not to, let's go on now. We've already done that, which we have, and let's go make a big, beautiful world. And the only reason we don't do that exactly because the silly people keep coming back and doing some little silly stuff like they do today. And one of the reasons, but we are aware of what, see, the white man is trapped. I say it every week, not every week, but often. He's trapped. He got all of this stuff exposed. You got to remember, from day one in California, from day one here in D.C., and everywhere we was, all the people got to do is look at those places and they see what's happening. Everything is documented. But now, why do we call California from Stalingrad to Oakland? We always talk about what a big deal Stalingrad was. How bad the Germans, Hitler wanted to take Stalingrad. He wanted to take Stalingrad so bad because it had Stalin's name on it. And they hated Stalin. I gotta get Stalingrad. It's just like the place was called Hitlergrad. You know, everybody else, we gotta get that. So, everything that worked before, and the German Wehrmacht, the German army, and the Luftwaffe, the Air Force, that new blitzkrieg coordinated warfare was new, and it worked. Oh, it whooped people's behind. It just drove over Poland just like that. They had the Maginot Line in France. You might have heard of it. See, now remember, France and Germany had a war of 1871, 1914, when the Germans was 40 miles from Paris in World War I, and now they got World War II coming. So after 1918, one thing the French knew, every time we fight the Germans, we get our butt kicked. That's the way it just goes. The Germans, like I always say, is goose-stepping white folks. They whoops all the other white folks around them. You know, everything being equal, they do. They just whoop them. They outproduce them, they do all. I don't know, that's what God gave them. They just goose-stepping white folks. That's the way they're militaristic, they like marching bands, they drink a lot of beer and stuff like that. That's what they do, right? And the other white folks can't match them. It's just like, you know, especially one white folk, the British, can't whoop the Germans. They just never could. In fact, when the whole world was fighting the Germans, they had to wait on the U.S. 2 times. Don't be for them over here, resting, taking it easy, building up for the fight, training for the fight while everybody else is about dead. You know what I mean? So the Germans, the French built the Maginot Line. That's a line of big guns, pillboxes. They had tunnels all the way along the French border. And all the tunnels could carry soldiers. They had a little train in there to take weapons and ammunition. So they said, we're building a line that you can't come across. And so they just, the Germans conquered France in 3 weeks, I think. They built up all that stuff. The Germans just flew over and took it just like that. Probably didn't fire hardly a shot. But I'm trying to tell you, that blitzkrieg warfare, everything worked for the Germans. It worked in Russia too for a minute. But when they got to Stalingrad, I'm going to be brief on this, everything that worked out in the open worked against them at Stalingrad. Stalingrad stopped the German advance, and it became a sniper haven. If you saw the movie Enemy at the Gate or any of those, anybody see that movie, Enemy at the Gate? With that young guy, they start sniping. And then they had a guy, an old bald-headed guy, come in and took over. It was Khrushchev. That's old Nikita Khrushchev. Yeah, that was a real Khrushchev. I mean, in real life, you know, 1956, 55, 56. He was the, I'll bury you, Khrushchev. You know. So what happened? Everything turned on them. Everything they had used before now worked against them. And then they were encircled by Russians and cut off because they could have escaped, but they wouldn't. They was encircled. Russians on skis and everything, white uniforms, encircled Stalingrad, cut off the German retreat, and it was hundreds of thousands of them. They captured 6,000 of them, got back to Germany alive. 6,000, I don't know, there's different numbers, 91,000, 391,000. All them Germans died. You can't blame the Russians because the villainous behavior of the Russians when they come 500 miles or more into Russia. Why we say Stalingrad to Oakland? Everything that would work before, it didn't work then. And 5 out of 6 Germans was killed by Russians, not by Americans. We always saw D-Day, June the 6th, D-Day, 18,000 ships. You remember that stuff? The longest day. Like dummies, we thought the U.S. was the ones that knocked Germany over. It wasn't that way. It was the Eastern Front. The Russians came all the way back, and they basically told the Americans, you stay out of Berlin. The U.S. didn't get it, the Germans got it. They knocked them over. This is what we did, the whole global movement. Remember, everybody's involved. I would go up to Canada for a couple of decades, and when our friends invited us, when they didn't really want us to come, the police would stop us at the border like they knew we was coming, and it took a long time. This is strange. Nobody else get no hassles. None of our other buddies get no hassles. Why me? It's because I'm colored. What was good was what Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui said, remember? In South Africa. If he said that, why did all of those people start acting funny on that day? I mean, he laid it out. Why did they start acting funny? I'm not even going to mention our friends and where they pray in the street. But all of the rich guys in South Africa, and I'm getting stopped going to South Africa now and held up at the airport in Atlanta. And then taken downstairs because, what's the name, and his wife got to get on the plane where I'm supposed to be on. Because if they miss that one, it don't go but once a day. They'd have to stay there with me. That would throw their whole program. Why would they do stuff to me to throw off the whole program there for me? Why would they hold me up there, coming back here with no legal reason? Because they could do anything they want. They had lost consciousness of themselves and thought they could do anything they wanted. Because by then, we're not responding to nothing. So what do? They keep on, and they keep on, and then they look up, and oh, there's a whole case built up against them. You know, the old lady called me today and said, you should apologize to Abdul-Malik and all those people, you know. I said, apologize? That's about 10 times she said. For being right? No, you ought to apologize for calling them the police. No, I just said what they do, you know. And y'all not the police. All I said was you was holding the police's hand when the police come and take me to jail in the Masjid, that the whole world know that it has a... I said, I never said you was a police. I said you were holding the police's hand. And the police said, and you were standing there with them, said that there's a man in there with guns. He's a terrorist. That's what you said a couple of weeks, last month before last. Didn't y'all say that? You ought to stay out of there. I said, not only am I not going to stay out of there, because they got a thing till we finish this thing to stay. Shoot, I may be right. They ain't got no right to tell me to pretend like they don't know. Imagine the Oakland Police Department. Just how would it look to say, it's in every magazine, every book, everybody in the Bay Area knows, and they know. They've arrested me at the Masjid before, way, way back. If the police or the FBI, which the FBI has been to the Masjid, that mean that they're not monitoring, you know, with monitoring all the terrorists? Could the Oakland police and the FBI come into court and say, we didn't know he was the Imam? You know? I just can't wait to get them to come to say that. We didn't know. I said, you didn't know. then we're going to ask somebody, and they say, you don't have nothing, then we're going to subpoena the records. You know, freedom of information. Freedom of information. They can't hide. So you didn't know who slept in that masjid for 35 years? Almost 40 years. So, here's two things that's happening. The hand of kindness over the collaborators, because the collaborators are panicking, discombobulated, and paranoid. And the government is making them more paranoid. That's why they're calling me. Because the government tell them, you call him, and you know why? Because we threw it back in the government's lap, publicly, like we're doing now. We're saying to everybody, on camera, if you know me, and you like Imam Musa, you don't do nothing to Mukhtar, Khadijah, or none of those other government agents that was at Masjid al-Islam. Any of them you check, they will come out to be government agents. We don't want you to do anything to them. Here's what's happening. The police is trying to get rid of Mukhtar, Khadijah, Abdul-Malik now. I done said this 10 times, but I'm going to keep this on the government because this makes them crazier and crazier every time I say it. If you were to grab, if you wanted information on the snitches that's in their network, all you have to do is grab Abdul-Malik. Put a little, you know, them little tools they have at the hardware store, and you solder something, just a little heat on it. You don't have to have a big them things, you know, they melt stuff, just anything. Then any human being will tell you anything. So the government knows that. So they know that there's people out there that don't like what's happening, and they don't know who they are. Because when we started this type of talking, it was 30 years ago. We were clear 20 years back. So everybody that was genuine knew, don't come around me because I'm the target. That's what I do. I'm the target. I'm a professional target. If you hang out with me, you're going to have heat on me. And I told them it's like referred heat. Referred heat is